Before there was a Teen Wolf, there had to be a Valley Girl. That 1983 comedy starring Nicolas Cage was made for $350,000 and grossed somewhere around $17 million. Take a minute to wrap your head around that. As you might imagine, the studio liked that math, and they were eager to repeat the formula. Enter screenwriters Matthew Wiseman and Jeff Loeb. Yes, comic book fans, that Jeff Loeb. The duo had just moved to Los Angeles when they were given the chance to put together a screenplay that would cost next to nothing to produce and could be shot very quickly. I'm not sure if anyone at the studio is familiar with the axiom that when you want something done good, fast, and cheap, you have to settle for 2 out of 3, but I'm going to go ahead and assume that high quality was not one of their chief concerns when developing this particular project. When all of this started, Loeb was bartending at a TGI Fridays and Wiseman was a cashier at an arcade. 3 weeks later, their script was done and Michael J. Fox was attached to star. And with his involvement, the film was immediately greenlit. You know what's funny? In a strange way, these two writers owe their careers to the fact that Fox's Family Ties co-star Meredith Baxter Birney got knocked up. Because her pregnancy pushed back filming on that sitcom, and that meant Fox now had a very small window of time where he would be available to shoot this film. It was certainly a blessing for this production, but apparently the young actor did not share their enthusiasm. At the time, he was a little embarrassed by the whole thing. In fact, during one interview, he lamented the fact that he was stuck doing this while just down the street, Steven Spielberg was making a movie. The movie in question? Back to the Future. That's right, back when they were filming with Eric Stoltz as Marty McFly. Now, we all know how that wound up working out, or not working out, more accurately. And so Fox was eventually able to join that very production not long after filming wrapped on Teen Wolf, which wound up being tremendously fortunate for this film as well. See, the producers were acutely aware of the commercial viability of anything Spielberg was involved with, and so they decided to hold off on releasing this until after Back to the Future hit theaters. Their strategy paid off big time. On a budget of $1 million, Teen Wolf grossed $80 million in 1985 money. The only film that beat it at the box office was Back to the Future, which meant that for one weekend in August, Michael J. Fox was the star of the top 2 most successful movies in the country. Now, Teen Wolf never reached the same level of critical or commercial success as a juggernaut like Back to the Future, but it certainly has its fans, including our listener, Tommy. Tommy's not the only person to suggest this film, but I'm giving him a shout out because he has very patiently been waiting for us to cover this. And I also think he deserves some recognition for how creative he was with how he kept this fresh in our minds, because he did it without being obnoxious about it. So thank you. So I'm sorry it took this long, Tommy, but here we are. Now, Donna, you had never seen this.
True. For a good chunk of years there in the early part of my life, I thought that Teen Wolf and Thriller were the same thing.
Okay.
Like, because I had no familiarity with Teen Wolf at all. And Michael Jackson seemed like a young person who turned into a wolf. So I was like, oh, you must mean that. Like, there was just a brief amount of time that I was like, oh no, I think I know what that is. And I was wrong.
Isn't it weird how we do that as kids?
Yeah.
Like, we're just like, I'm just going to make connections and then just move on.
Rather than, like, assume that I'm out of it, I'll assume that I'm in it and you're saying the wrong title of something.
It's like I always thought Michael Jackson was just magical and everyone knew it. And it's like, oh yeah, he's the magic man who can make magic.
Wait.
Because I thought Moonwalker was like basically a documentary. I was like, oh wait, he turned into a robot, as he does. He can do that. Like I saw that movie so young that I just did not accept it as fiction. I was like, this is basically.
And you didn't have my dad there to tell you movies aren't real.
Right. So.
Wow.
I just thought he was magical. Very strange.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Donna thought Teen Wolf was the star of Thriller.
Yeah.
You believed magic.
Yeah, I did.
I feel ready for this.
Carlos, what do you remember about Teen Wolf?
I cannot tell you how many times I watched Teen Wolf as a kid. We had it recorded from it airing on TV. And so I had it with commercials and all of that. So there are a couple scenes that I had never seen before this because they were edited for television. sniffing out weed that didn't happen on TV. And then like there was like basically the scene where he goes to the girls' dressing room. That ends much earlier, so it's just like, oh, he saw a girl in her underwear, and then like it just from that's it. And so yeah, I was like, oh, these are new experiences. It's kind of like this movie was more grown up. Should have been for me, but for TV, but I've seen this so many times, man, like so many times. So that like there was a Where for the Bulls, Kyle Korver, who everyone lazily said looked like Ashton Kutcher because he had the same kind of shaggy haircut. It's like, no, guys, he looks nothing like Ashton Kutcher. He looks just like mid-transformation Teen Wolf. And everyone's like, what are you talking about? And I had to like Google search, and they're like, how did you know? Like, how did you just have that? I was like, because I've seen it 400 quadrillion times. Like, it's just in my head. And he does look like that. I'll post it on the Twitter, I think, because he looks exactly like that.
So bad.
I'll post it.
Okay.
You hear me? Damn it!
I hate when Dad gets mad.
I said I'll post it, and I'll post it.
May I be excused?
Watch your father post it.
So yeah, like if I think about Teen Wolf, it's funny because immediately it's like I hear like the score in my head and like the 80s drum, like every scene, no matter what the mood of the music is, it could be like cheery music or like creepy music. It's fantastic.
Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. I've had that in my head all week.
Yeah, I've been singing the school dance song. Like your grandma.
Oh my God. But eventually I realized, okay, obviously this is about the Little Red Riding Hood.
Yeah.
But when the song started, because I have a lot of notes about lyrics.
Sure don't look like your grandma.
I was like, whoa. Eventually it all snapped into place, but yeah, I was like, oh, this is a real humdinger. Okay.
Yeah, 'cause the first time I heard, like, they actually paid attention to the lyrics, like, sure are bringing up grandma a lot. What is that? We keep coming.
Hip school dance.
What's with the
It was
grandma
written by
motif?
me. Now let's get sexy.
Oh my God.
It's funny. It's Back to the Future and Teen Wolf, where I watched it all the time, and I mixed up the principles in my head. So I have to think like in my head. I was always like Teen Wolf has the bald principal, has evil Professor X, and then Back to the Future has the man from. He looks like the guy that used to host a show on the channel called Masterpiece Theater. These are very specific calls, but I guarantee you there is one other person who had my exact childhood. I will, sir. So, yeah, love this movie as a kid and haven't seen it in a really long time because I never saw it on TV again or like on HBO or anything. The reason I differentiate that is because it's not TV, it's HBO.
Oh, we know.
No.
I'm done.
And I never DVD or even saw it on DVD. It's never like on Netflix or anything. Like, it's just like it's like Michael J. Fox is paying for people to forget that this happened. It's almost like that's what it is.
I made 3 of those damn Back to the Future movies. Keep bringing this up. Well, the main thing I remember about this movie and the sequel is the VHS box art. Just walking past those in the video store. I had more vivid memories of that than anything from the actual film. And I also remember being aware at a very young age that the second one had a bad reputation. That sounded funny. Like, that one's dangerous. They'll get ideas.
Not needed after school.
I might have gotten ideas.
Lead you on.
Posting flyers all over the neighborhood. Have you seen this werewolf? Have you seen Kid
Teen Wolf.
But no, I did. I knew this was a bad movie. In fact, this was a movie that Dad just refused to rent for us, and he was not above coming home with some stinkers. So when the guy who let It sticks with you. But this first one, I think I saw for the first time on cable. I knew it was a movie I really, really wanted to see, like Michael J. Fox. Werewolves. I did. And the 80s were actually a really great time for werewolf movies. And I remember, so it started, and one of the first things I was struck by was, is everyone calling that girl Booth?
Yes.
Booth.
And we never address it.
And I guess it's based on a real person. That was the nickname of one of the writer's high school girlfriends, but it just seems so weird. Hey, Gunt. Get over here, Gunt. How can you go to prom with Stacy when everyone knows Poopa's in love with you? I didn't understand. What the hell is a Poof? The other main thing I remember was the reveal of Dad also being a werewolf. That cut to him just standing in the door. I laughed so hard at that. I thought that was amazing. But, speaking of the werewolf makeup, I was not crazy about the design of Scott as a werewolf. It always kind of bothered me. I don't think it looks so good. And I know this was made for peanuts and shot on Michael J. Fox's lunch break, but especially compared to some of the other really incredible makeup effects being done around this time, a lot of the time he looks more like a monkey than he does a wolf. It looks more like a Sasquatch during the basketball team. Oh, and that was the other thing that surprised me about the movie, the fact that it's centered around basketball, that it was more of a basketball movie than it was a werewolf movie. And because I had seen I Was a Teenage Werewolf, a 50s movie with Michael Keaton. I'd seen that on TV, so I think I was expecting something like that, but more comedic. And then this was like, no, this is like the original Air Bud. There's no rule that says a werewolf can't play basketball. A flummoxed referee. I'll allow it. The basketball thing just seems so odd and random.
It's very strange.
But I liked it. The whole movie. There wasn't much I didn't like at that age. So even though I didn't rewatch this much or at all, really, I did have positive feelings about it as a kid. And I remember liking the cartoon too, which I may have seen first. I have very hazy memories of it. I know he had a much bigger family of werewolves. It wasn't just him and Dad. There was like a grandpa werewolf. I don't remember if Mom was in that. That actually was more like I Was a Teenage Werewolf, because in the cartoon, it's not about basketball. Like, he's keeping it secret. Like, it's just, I think Booth and Styles are also in the cartoon. They know that he's a werewolf, maybe, but the whole town doesn't. I had to have seen that first. I bet that's another reason I expected something a little different from the movie.
I saw it second.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I think I had the reverse now.
Where's the basketball?
Every week.
Where are the horny teenagers playing party games?
But I haven't seen this in a really long time. I know I saw part of it either right before or not long after we started doing this podcast, because I remember thinking, this does not hold up. But look, I mean, it was 10 or 15 minutes of it, sort of out of context, I guess. It's like, that's true. Yeah, I don't know. Well, it's not the best way to come to that sort of conclusion. So now here it is. We give it a fair shake. And with that said, we just looked at it with fresh eyes, so let's see how Teen Wolf holds up. Sort of a missed opportunity with the MGM line.
Complete misdirection of the opening credits.
Those very cerebral.
It's like, this is going to be like a horror movie.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like 2 or 3 names like that, and then we're going to cut in like, oh, we're just going to do the whole thing. Okay.
Yeah, it never subverts itself. Be like, but also this is fun.
It's just a black screen, and then intermittent drools.
That opening credits, it promises like body horror that happens, but like very quickly and not in a horror way. It's kind of funny. And then this, you would think it's like this will fuck you up forever.
It's like Jacob's Ladder.
I just watched that for the first time
Oh, I love that movie. Yeah. We just detoured into talking about that for 90 minutes.
It's fucked up.
I didn't watch that movie as much as a kid.
Oh, see, that was another one my dad showed me. Way too young. And then it was over, and he's like, so what did you think? Like, basically, I'm not going to spoil the ending for anybody, but just like, what's your theory? He's like, hi, nine. Oh, hot damn. Oh, the world's upside down. What do I think? I think I need a stiff drink. 2 fingers of scotch, please. Don't you dare put ice in that. Father.
You know how he's full weird? Wearing a turtleneck.
So the one thing in this movie that's going to require the biggest suspension of disbelief is not someone turning into a werewolf. It's that Michael J. Fox is a basketball player.
Yeah, that first shot makes him look so small. I was like, this is
They also don't cast around him. Like, they just fill out that supporting cast with, you could legitimately play basketball.
Yeah, he's like
5'3".
He's like 4'11". Yeah, he's getting smaller as the game goes on. Yeah, he's tiny. But I mean, like, high school basketball, they're tiny basketball.
I don't know.
Sometimes you got moves.
And they're a bad team.
Well, okay, so that's the other part of
He
this.
starts for that team.
So the idea is that this team, the Beavers, they're blowing it. Like, that's the way the film's playing. This is this embarrassing shit show. They're wasting their time by even showing up. But then when it gets to that last free throw, they're only down by 1 point.
No, they're down by many.
I thought it was like 12 to 11.
The last free throw, the first game?
First game.
No, it's like 71 to 12.
Then why are they making such a big deal out of the...
Nonsense. There's no reason to put any emphasis on this because the scoreboard is in the background. It's like 70 to 12. So why does anyone care about this? No one.
Okay, well then the free throw point that I'm trying... The actual point, not his point,
Yeah.
my point.
I think he's trying to shoot a 3 at the end.
My
or something.
point about the free throw
Yeah.
still stands, and now I am horrified. I misread 71. It's like, yeah, it's basically tied. What was I looking at?
I don't even know why they did. Why were they even defending? Like the game is over.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love the guy that comes into the locker room afterwards who's like, we'll help out there. I'm like, what did you get? 4 baskets?
That guy was on like Melrose Place or something. I know that guy from something later on as an adult. I never noticed him. He was like, he's like the one good player on the team.
But not really. It's 12 points.
He probably had all 12. And to be fair, the other team was probably just guarding.
I mean, I guess. Oh boy.
And the other team had like 30-year-old.
Yeah.
Well, this whole movie is 30-year-olds.
Yes, it's true.
So it's an 80s movie, so the bad guy on the team is named Chubb. Chunk was taken. Goonies came out a few months earlier.
He does look like he's well into his 30s. That is not a
You sure
teenage
that's not the
person.
coach?
What year did Pee-wee's Big Adventure come out? This is Francis.
Yep. And this... God, isn't it the same year?
This is 85.
Yeah.
That's about right. 86. Yeah. So I needed all of it in my childhood. Yeah.
Maybe Chubb has a legendary boner. Maybe that's what the nickname's for.
Oh.
Or he's in that Goldilocks zone. He's never has a boner, but he's also never fully flaccid.
So, I
He's
see.
just a chub.
Hmm.
My God.
Well, like, not too hot, not too cold. Able to sustain life, I believe, is the Goldilocks zone for planets.
Great. Sorry. Thanks for catching me up there.
We're also introduced to Styles.
I love Styles in the first half of this movie, and then he sells things, and at the end, he plays so heavily in the first 15, 20 minutes of this. It's just like, I'm going to sell merchandise, and that's kind of the end of their friendship, really. Like, they really forgot about him.
Yeah, at least they remember to establish him. There's a couple of other characters in this movie. For the whole time, I'm just like, you're supposed to be a thing. I can tell. I can
Lewis?
tell that yeah.
Lewis, did they never resolve anything with him?
Did
He's
Lewis
just gone.
Does Lewis need to be in this movie? At no point does Lewis need to be in this movie. But the coach too.
He's one of my favorite
He's
characters.
just pretty funny.
He wants to forfeit.
And that actually, he may have been my favorite character in this movie. I did laugh out loud at Coach Finstock quite a bit. Yeah. So Scott tells Goof that he's sick of being average, he wants to change. I think he might get one, guys. Just a hunch. The movie's not called Teen Status Quo. It's when the franchise really runs out of gas.
So I remember as a kid this taking a lot longer for the change to happen, but like in the first scene of the movie, he's already growling. That's what gets him that final shot to close that gap. To bring it within 55
He
points.
was standing at the 85-point line in the other school.
Right.
Across
A
town.
lot of people don't know about that.
Yeah.
But it's,
So he goes to work at Dad's hardware store. I love this. It reminds me of when Kevin Arnold went to work on Wonder Years. So then I just watched the Wonder Years. So my notes are about to get real confusing. So Mr. Harris won't give Kevin a raise. He decides he's got to work at the mall. Remember? This is the dog whistle bit. And I thought there were going to be more things like this. Like peeing on fire hydrants.
Oh,
Sniffing butts. No, I know wolves don't do that, but
that's what stopped it.
maybe they want to, and we just won't let them. They're sick of being average. They want to change. Wolf dog.
A wolf talking to its other wolf friend. Like, I'm ready for a change.
oh my god.
Man.
Oh, the dog whistle. Why doesn't Dad hear it?
Maybe he does.
And he's just used to it.
He's also
Okay.
older. He's hearing what's going. I love the dad in this.
He's great too. Yeah. And so James Hampton is the actor who plays Scott's dad, and I guess he went to the director to work on fleshing out this character, and the director told him he's a guy who knows how to make a casserole.
It's really kind of sweet.
It makes sense. Like when you think about the movie, there is something very maternal about Howard to compensate for the fact that Mom isn't around. I mean, it sounds funny and random, but it makes perfect sense to me.
It says a lot. I think, yeah, he's wonderful. Everything about him. I immediately was like, I love this relationship. If nothing else happens in this movie, his dad is so there for him. I'm sorry, what?
Because you were just like, there's something like see in his voice. There's like, I just want you to explain the world to me. I wish I was a teen wolf as well. So we have this bonding moment.
There's Pamela's monologue for this play. Oh, this is another great character, the director. Wow. I need to feel you. I need to smell you. Hurt me. I love that part.
So I don't know what happened in my childhood that I have always thought, and it wasn't, I guess, I'd always believed but had never reflected on it in the rest of my life. It was just in my childhood, and I was like, the director is Tim Burton. I don't know why. It's just like, oh, Tim Burton played the director. I don't know why I thought that.
Tim Burton plays the director of the dating video in Singles. So, Kissing Cousins is
So
Teen Wolf.
Maybe. Another movie.
There are
about
some
a
hairy
werewolf.
people in Singles.
I don't know. I was just like, I had always thought as a kid, like, that's Tim Burton. Maybe like I saw a picture of Tim Burton. Like, he kind of looks like a guy from Teen Wolf, I guess. But I don't think he does. Very strange.
I guess the actor based this on his father-in-law,
Oh,
which then it gets, like, that's creepy.
yeah.
But before I read that, I thought this was hysterical. It's like, what the hell is that? I love it. That made me laugh so hard. So this is a real play that she's performing called Sunset at Stones River.
I've actually never seen that one.
I made that up.
I've been doing them for years. I have no idea.
To be fair, I was feigning interest, so
This sounds like something I should be interested in. Of course, very prestigious.
feel it, I can smell it.
Oh, I did a monologue from that in college.
So Scott's delivering supplies, trying to talk to him, but he's shot down as Mick swoops in. Mick, who is also on the rival basketball team. The guy that plays Mick, I mean, he's not like a movie star or anything. This dude has worked constantly his whole career. He's got 125 credits on his IMDb.
The hell else has he been?
He pops up in all kinds of stuff. He was just in Blade Runner 2049. Yeah, he was in that Seven Kingsman movie.
I'm like having a little few trust issues right now.
This is, I should have been prepared for that. This is absolutely true.
Scrooges.
He plays the tornado.
God.
It's Scrooges.
Damn it, they got me again.
There's that quick scene of Styles at the liquor store. And this is, okay, so this is in my notes. You just brought this up not too long ago. This started to remind me of when we did License to Drive. And in addition to the two Corys, there was that random and sort of unnecessary third friend.
Oh yeah.
This is the scene where I realized, this movie has one of those too.
It's like Lewis is intended for a scene where he's like, you've forgotten who you are or something.
Yeah.
Nope. It's not gonna.
I like the idea of a counterpart to Style, someone who doesn't like the transformation, is a little frightened by all of this. Because he doesn't make much of an impression in these early moments here, because it's one of many, many story possibilities that the movie just isn't interested in. It all falls a little flat, so it's weird. He's in every major scene in the film, and the movie's going to treat him like a much more important character than he ever registers as.
It's basically a very glorified extra.
I was sort of hoping that maybe Lewis was also a werewolf who was like really good at not turning into a werewolf and was like really upset that like he felt like he was being outed and like drawing attention to the werewolf community and he didn't want to be a part of it. That's what I had in my mind, but it did not happen.
But then when he sees that literally no one gives a shit that a man can turn into a wolf, he realizes
What have I been so
he
afraid of?
can come out of the dead or live his truest self.
Oh boy. Well, okay, so they return with Scott for the second attempt at buying a keg of beer.
To the only liquor store in town.
Sure. Well, really quick, before that, there's that very, very quick scene where Styles comes to get Scott. I like the rapport between Styles and Scott's dad.
Oh, Styles, nice shirt. Doesn't
Doesn't
turn
even look.
around and the
Yeah.
shirt says obnoxious on it.
So this is the scene where he goes to get the beer where his eyes glow.
I, as a child, thought that beer was measured cake. I did not know the word keg.
Oh.
It's like a cake. Because when he says, so really, how did you get the beer? He just said, give me a keg. But it sounds like cake. That's a weird measurement. Weird unit of measurement for beer. I know nothing about beer.
Birthday to me.
I wonder if it makes everyone so happy.
I just thought we just measured beer in cakes.
Let's go.
You grow up, you drink the cake. You didn't have time to eat it.
We're on the go. Got places to drive.
And then, of course, it's the urban circus.
I hated this. Hated it.
Because it made you nervous?
Yes, that is not safe. I do not like it.
So I was thinking, like, why is Lewis in this movie? It's like, because they need to pull over to do the switch. It's like, they don't. They have a fucking van. You can put the keg in the van. There's no reason to have a car there.
That really stuck out to me. Stuck out?
Stuck out.
What did I say?
Stuck out.
It poofed out.
It moved right into my face. It moved into my peepers. Stuck out. That was like, that felt long. It hurt coming out. Like, I was just like, that's not the word. That's not what your mouth is supposed to do. Ouch. It stood out.
Oh,
What
that
the
makes
hell
more
is the van for?
sense. Yeah, to surf on. You can't surf on a convertible.
You can't surf on a regular car with a...
Be able to do that no matter what. But I would rather you just stand in the back seat of the car, or perhaps straddling the front seat in the back seat, so that when you fall, you're less 100% assured to die on the road in a million scattered pieces. Don't do that.
I was making a movie in high school once where there was a car chase, and we were getting very creative about like so we had 3 cars total, the cars that were in the scene, and then the car I was in filming all of this, not driving at the same time. What am I, a nut? So, but I was like hanging out the window to get the angles I wanted. I would like put the camera on the screen so the car could drive over the camera to get that stupid shot. And then there was a part where I was like, I'm going to be on the hood of this car as it comes barreling towards this other car. And I was just like, we're doing this. The chasing ended at the parking lot of my old elementary school. And so I was like, it's fine. How fast do these things really go in such a short distance? It'll be fine. Man, as soon as that thing started moving, it was just like, the camera was on. I was not paying attention. Every last bit of energy was going towards, do not experience. Hold on to those bowels, kid. Wow, this thing's got some kick, huh? And then just immediately waved, like, stop. Gonna have to think of a new shot and get off the hood of this car.
Oh my god.
They had a much better setup for this. Like, he was tethered to the roof. But that's actually the actor playing Styles doing it.
I think Styles and Dad came to play in this movie. Like, they are not phoning this in. They are doing everything they can with every line that they're given. And that's just not true for everyone in this movie. I guess the coach too is also,
yeah,
he
totally
makes the most out of what's there. But yeah, I like Styles.
I do too. He actually reminds me a lot of the best friend I had, like for most of my childhood. They look very similar, and also just the personality. That's one of the reasons I liked Styles as much as I did. But yeah, I was very endeared to him.
Great. Everything except this one. It's terrible.
I also like in this sequence too is that there will be shots where you're supposed to be looking at Styles, but you can see both. And you can see that he's got ears, or you can see that, that there are different things happening, that they're not like showing us the growing.
I noticed the ears before the close-up of him looking in the rearview mirror. But yeah. So they get to the party. Hannah was talking to one of the extras from Newsies. We're back in He's just dressed in his toe.
He's not really.
He's not. We're probably not really in Maybe this is what we got there. It's a true story. They meant the true story of this kid.
He just kept jumping behind all the time. Like, put it in the movie. I'm just gonna jump up and look down at all of you.
Sometimes this is true. I laugh so hard when I think about how half-hearted and self-conscious that Santa Fe song is. He's so embarrassed. It's so funny. That little kick he does, like, I hate this. I regret my choices.
All I have to do is think through 3 or 4 lines and I'll tear up.
I like to think that when Christian Bale's Home Alone, he does he still does it. And he says, still got it.
Oh, so the lyrics to the song playing in the background of the party. This is the least of it. Take it, shake it, don't heartbreak it.
They wrote the movie in 3 weeks. They wrote the songs in 25 minutes.
I think that's from First Corinthians.
Those are my vows. And then at the party, there's that couple doing the Houdini wiggle.
What was that supposed to be?
Tied back to back.
Classic party game. So here's one part where I had an issue with that. Maybe I'm wrong, but I was very frustrated by the lack of organization and presentation of games. You have to announce what the next game on deck is and then draw the names, because Styles never says. He just draws the names, pushes you into a corner, and the participants are instantly just like, yeah, we get it, we understand. It's like, here you go, Bobby and Denise, here's 3 balloons, a pair of scissors, and a rubber band. See you in a few minutes. What?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. He could do a lot better. I can't believe he was like the party has like an MC. It's like crazy, right?
He showed up late. What were they doing before?
Seriously.
I like that he brings the keg. Like he's the hero.
Oh, yeah.
Just put it over there.
I forgot. Yeah, that part's good.
We don't get to it, just take it home.
So when Booth lies to get partnered up with Scott, so again, we need rule. This isn't organized, because she needs to know. That only makes sense if she knows they're about to do 7 minutes in heaven.
Well, she knows they're about to do something pseudo-sexual.
How?
Because the other game was them in whipped cream rolling around on the floor. The game after that is the Jello, which is definitely supposed to land in her bra, but it's just straight down.
Okay, so she
it's
knows.
going to be a sexual game.
Okay, all right, fine.
Yeah.
Fine. You know what though? So even still, I still thought it was Styles was the one. Yes, that there's only the one hat with the names. Like that's it. We're just drawing names out of his hat. He pulls out Scott's name. He pulls out what's her face's. Pamela looks at Booth, looking at Scott, and reads her name instead. There's the public, the very loud public persona, but also, I mean, the dude's
that he cares about
yes.
Scott.
Yeah.
He's not just there to have fun.
and Booth.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. And Pamela just doesn't seem to like. There can't be 2 Scotts in the hat. Obviously, it never.
I think she's relieved that
Yeah.
because there is that kind of look about like, what? Okay, you can have him.
But then who's she gonna say? It's anarchy. The game could be better.
Did you just say that in a room full of like Caucasian American children, there could not possibly be 2 Scotts?
Well, there's no last initial, so
That's
evidently
true.
there can't be. If
My
there
high
was
school-
a last initial, then yes, there's 2 Scotts.
In my high school, there were like 4 Megans, 3 Katies,
Oh,
and like
yeah.
9 Matts
Yeah.
per classroom.
Yeah.
And there were literally 2 Carloses in the entire school.
Mm.
So
I mean, there's no last initial,
Okay.
so I'm led to believe there's only 1 Scott.
I just assumed they would have to fight
Maybe
all the Scots.
there's just one T in Scott, and it's his Scott T.
Scout.
Scout T. I think his Booth was wrong. She was going to get partnered up with Scout. Scout Thompson.
Naturally.
Scout Thompson from Kids in the Hole. All right, so there's the big transformation scene.
Wait, in the closet or in the basketball
yeah,
game?
there's he kind of wolfs out for a second in the closet there. Really tears the shit out of. That's actually a great reveal because you hear her say, "Ow!" Like, you scratched me. Then when she goes walking away, it's like, whoa.
Holy shit, she needs medical attention.
That's more vicious than what he does to Mick at the end of the movie.
Seriously.
So then there's the big transformation scene. One of the worst I've ever seen. I'm just being honest. It's not good, but it's also not surprising. They had no money. They had to do this fast. So it is what it is. It gets the job done. What does work here, though, is his reaction, both to his appearance and then to Dad knocking on the door. I laughed out loud at all of that.
His voice has never sounded like that before or after the. You don't sound like that. It's a weird voice.
I love how understated it is, too, when he's like, when Dad's trying to tell him, just open the door. And like, no, Dad. Not this time. It's so good. And then, I already mentioned the reveal of Dad is one of my favorite parts. That's a tremendous cut. And they let it sit there for just long enough before he talks.
It's the cutest damn thing.
It's okay.
It's wonderful.
Hard or something is long overdue.
An explanation is long overdue.
explanation.
Yeah. One of the screenwriters called him, refers to him as the Care Bear in this scene.
That's what it feels like.
I like that he was like, I was hoping that this wasn't gonna have to happen because sometimes it skips a generation.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck was he gonna say to his kid if this skips a generation and suddenly your child is a werewolf? The next generation will be his grandchild. Like, Dad, what do I say to this? He's a werewolf. Oh yeah, I should have told you that years ago. That's a thing.
If you choose to have children, they'll probably be werewolves. Just so you know.
Certainly carry
You
this weird
cross
gene.
the bridge when you get to it. There's no reason to get him stressing out about it now. And there was one summer when my dad lived in San Francisco. We were at Pier 39 having this amazing day, and then my dad brought up the fact that my uncle had diabetes, and like what a terrible inconvenience this was for him, and how scary it could be. And I was like, wait, what is diabetes? And so he starts explaining to me, and I'm like, and then there was something he said, I was like, are you saying I could get this because Grandpa has it and Uncle Jim has it? Type 2, by the way, so like not necessarily, I could have prevented it, but my dad was just like, yeah, you might. And I just sat there with this churro in my hand, like,
That's still away from me.
I was just like, and then I was in this like funk the rest of the day, and he was starting to get bent out of shape that I was in a bad mood, and like, look where we are, he just fucking flashed my own mortality in my face, and like, oh, but look at the seals. I don't think so. I was so freaked out, and I just convinced myself it's probably already in me. It's a ticking clock. I didn't even know what it was really. I was just like, I've got it. Yeah, so I understand Scott's dad. Is what I'm saying. Let's not get him all worked up about it now. Let him enjoy a few more churros, for God's sake.
Before he finds out he's a werewolf. How was that churro? Good. You carry the dormant werewolf gene.
I wouldn't believe that if Dad told me too. Movies aren't real, and I'm a fucking werewolf with diabetes. Get home, Mom's like, you are never going to visit your father. Okay.
Something's wrong with him. He is neither a werewolf nor a diabetic. I don't know what's going on.
But he's right, movies aren't real. Oh, God! Johnny 5.
Except for Moonwalker, which is a documentary.
So I want to mention this really quickly, that because of the success of Back to the Future, some foreign territories decided to try and take advantage of that. So the hook of him turning into a werewolf, that wasn't enough. For example, in Brazil, the film was retitled Boy from the Future.
What?
Can you fucking imagine? Oh, look, honey. The guy from Back to the Future made another sci-fi time travel movie. And then you shell out your hard-earned money, you sit down in the theater, and it's a rootin' tootin' booty smooching werewolf movie. You'd be like, what the hell? In the future, we'll all be wolves. The next step in evolution. Boy from the future. How do you sleep at night? How in good
That
conscience?
is flagrant.
Put this on the poster. Oh, but wait, it also had a different title in Italy. Over there it was called Desire to Win. A little vague, but okay. However, when dubbing over the dialogue, they changed Scott's name to Marty.
Come on.
That was one weird-ass Back to the Future sequel.
Bad form.
Didn't even mention Doc. Oh, you know what might have further confused people? Scott's house in this movie, it's Lorraine's house from 1955 in Back to the Future.
Whoa.
The exact same one.
That's
Shit.
nuts.
I appreciate them taking risks, but I miss the DeLorean.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's like in the United States, we changed. What was Sergio Leone's? We changed after his Fistful of Dollars. We changed one of whatever the title was in Italy. We changed it to Fistful of Dynamite. Is not tied to that series at all. It does not have the man with no name and whatnot. But it was just like, yeah, you know, Fistful. Just put it. Just take it.
This would actually make for a crazy bonus episode because, especially with horror movies, you know, they'll retitle them overseas to be like, yeah, this is part of that franchise. Like there are, you know, 6 or 7 Evil Dead movies in Italy. The George Romero zombie movies, that gets really messy with how they're retitled overseas, the sequels they make to those, but not the official ones, and then what happens when the real sequels go over. It's a mess. Yeah, they do this a lot to try and, they're trying to trick you.
Yeah.
Boy from the Future's my favorite. That's amazing. I don't know. Kind of looks like right now.
Holding up a newspaper, like last month's date on it.
Oh, shit. So the next morning, Dad recycles Uncle Ben's Spider-Man speech.
Oh, yeah.
Great responsibility. Which, that'll really come into play later.
Jeff Loeb needed something to throw in there. Spider-Man.
So at school, Pamela notices something very different about Scott. She is wretched, and they never even try to pretend that she's not.
No.
No. Which it works for the purposes of, you know, everything in this film it's pretty one-dimensional. But, you know, the only thing is that in a lot of stories like this, you have that element of the main character seeing what no one else sees, and even in movies where he realizes, no, I'm in love with my best friend, like Some Kind of Wonderful, or even there's one with Jennifer Love Hewitt and the brother from Boy Meets World called Trojan War.
Oh, right.
And it's like it's the same thing in there too, where it's like the object of his affection isn't a monster. It's just that somewhere along the way you realize, oh no. But this movie's so weird in that it's like he's not oblivious to Boof's feelings for him. He's just not interested. He knows what kind of person Pamela is. She's just super hot. And then Boof is super cool with being sidelined again and again and again. And then it just gets to the end and all of a sudden, no, never mind. We'll push you aside and go for Boof. And it's just, that's great. That's how it's supposed to end. But why? Pamela makes the decision that she's not interested in him.
When he drops her off and he's like, what about when we boned? She's like, I just wanted to bone a wolf. I don't know boyfriend.
So serious.
I kept thinking it was going to be revealed that she was like doing it with the director too.
I kind of thought that was what was happening.
The hurt me.
On the first name basis. She was
Feels a little familiar.
and there doesn't seem to be anyone else in this play.
No.
This play is not happening. Yeah, she's not redeemable in any way, shape, or form. And she should be.
In some ways, it's fine. It just winds up reflecting poorly on Scott, who we're supposed to be rooting for. It's like, we can all see she's terrible.
Yeah, I just wish that once he realized that she used him for his wolf penis, that he would be like, wow, that's not cool.
Done. Yeah. Because it feels like
be with you.
the movie, overall, it's kind of about this idea that the very superficial things Scott wants. Like to him, wanting a change, being different, that all means very superficial things to him when the movie starts. And then so to understand later on that the idea of celebrity, how ultimately empty that whole thing is, Pamela should be a part of that in a way that she just isn't. Because actually that's not even really a part of the movie, the rejection of, I got everything I wanted, but I feel empty. That's not really what happens. Oh, this is where he has that rough day at school, where every teacher is working with Wolf.
Wolf?
And little lesson plan. physical comedy of him running down the wet hall was fantastic.
So good.
I laughed out loud at that
I
too.
was really impressed.
Yeah. And just
To get that
keeps-
done, how did you not fall?
It just keeps going.
Because there's no way he faked that floor was slippery. It was definitely slick because he's sliding.
Yeah.
How do you not fall? That's nuts.
So Scott reveals he's a werewolf to Styles. Styles reveals he's homophobic. It's that era.
This scene, yeah, it's the first time I've seen this scene.
I thought they were looking for beer. I was like,
Hops.
You can smell the can.
can you smell
It's the only aluminum in the garage.
Yeah.
So. For someone so homophobic, he does go out of his way to talk about how beautiful he is.
Well, isn't that often the case? The people that are most obsessed with what everyone else is doing with their genitals are the ones that are...
He'll run for Congress.
I'll tell you what, if Scott passes on Booth, his dad's ready to jump in there and give it a go.
What is happening there?
Wow.
It's so weird.
Dad wants to boff Booth. So do a lot of our listeners. So guys, take it easy.
Really? Oh my god.
So strange, that scene. What was going on there? You were waiting for Scott to get home to walk you home?
I mean, just any excuse to hang out with the person you have a crush on.
There was a talk that she had with his dad that we didn't see, so I don't necessarily believe happened. Dad just gave me one of his famous talks. Yeah, I bet he did. And he's shooting hoops when they leave, and he's like, yeah! And he missed it. He misses the layup. And he turns around, he's like, yeah, I'm shooting the hoop! Scott's a dick to her, by the way.
Yes,
He
I
is.
repeatedly.
Don't you want to walk me home? I just got home. Dick. Jeez.
Isn't this what they reminisce about? Yeah, that was cute. Then there's what this has all been building to, Scott transforming in the middle of a game. So now everyone knows, and so everything just sort of proceeds as normal. I thought there was going to be a line here, like the coach being like, as long as he's scoring points, I don't care if he's the goddamn Loch Ness Monster. No one cares. You can't even have that moment because no one cares.
The looks that Chubb and the good player give each other, what's going on here, is about it. Everything else is just like, it's like the scene was written and just like placed in this movie to be like, and this is where you're gonna have to take the biggest leap that no one gives a shit. No one is scared of this guy. It's just gonna be cool.
No one runs from the gym.
No one
They just
runs from
keep
the
playing.
gym.
They just do a ponder pause, and then they're ready to go.
Huh. I guess I'm more tolerant than I realized.
So absurd.
But is he a homosexual? If he's not, then play ball.
Let's go.
Clearly.
I got money on this game.
Also, if the game is continuing to occur, he has been in the backcourt for way too long, and that is a violation. The game must go the other way. He must get the ball to
Oh, all of these opportunities are missing because, so the idea of the ref blowing the whistle like for a foul or something, and then the Wolf just turning to him, and the ref being like,
Yeah.
Never mind.
Never mind.
Nothing.
You're good.
Nothing happens. So here are some great lyrics worth highlighting in the song
My
that plays
God,
over this
yes.
part because this really stood out. First, my clothes catch on fire, then my car hits a tree.
That's not a good song.
And then you know what it is? Like the whole, this is such a weird song to put over this moment, the melody of it. It's like, it sounds like Randy Newman.
Faux Randy Newman.
It sounds like he had a little brother who fell out of their treehouse when they were kids, and he was never quite the same, but he also wanted to try writing songs. That's what this, it sounds like a Skippy Newman jam.
Yeah.
What is happening? The big werewolf reveal.
So weird. So weird.
It's very, very strange. Also, first my clothes catch on fire. I disagree. Something happened before that. first, a lit cigarette, perhaps.
It would make more sense if first my car hit a tree, then
my clothes
Yes.
caught on fire.
That's
Yes, yes, that makes more sense.
first.
Can't.
I mean, just out of nowhere, I spontaneously combusted. I'll tell you what.
I get that you hit the tree. I get that you hit the tree because
Yeah, you're alarmed.
Your clothing, your apparel was on fire, but something happened before it.
Yeah. That's true.
Faulty wiring, something.
Angry girlfriend.
Angry girlfriend.
Anything.
Yeah.
Clothes do not catch on fire.
Malfunctioning flamethrower. Anything, literally anything, something happened before this. Your sense of cause and effect is just skewed. I'm just saying. The inciting incident, something literally.
This was a baffling decision.
It's a very strange montage here.
They had an actual basketball player double for Michael J. Fox, and not surprisingly, it's pretty obvious every time they cut to that guy. Like they're built completely differently.
The Wolf basketball player.
Yeah.
Side note: I'm also bothered by how wispy the hair on the arms of
his
the
arms
wolf is. Yeah.
It's very. Ugh.
Yeah. Ooh, it just looks like Robin Williams' arms. His arms were a bit in his bits. That doesn't make any sense, what I just said. He did a bit about his arms, several of them. They were werewolf-ish.
I don't think they were that bad, though.
First I'm shaving my arm hair.
Then my clothes catch on fire. What? Again, you're missing a step.
What were you shaving with?
Napalm. Clearly. So the thing that this montage, doesn't it seem like this montage speaks to the team going on a basketball run where they are suddenly a good team for a long time?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At one point in this montage, someone is holding up the school newspaper, which says that they are going for 2 wins in a row.
Yeah.
This is the same one game that we're seeing the montage from. And so even though there were 6 kids in the stadium or in the gym when they were playing, 45 of them will go for the celebration afterwards.
Yeah, well, so that's when I knew it was just the one game, was the post-game celebration. And this is, okay, so the wolf is a star. Everybody loves him. They're carrying him in on their shoulders. So this is where the puberty metaphor totally falls apart. Like, oh, you're a weird hairy beast now? Let's throw a parade in your honor.
Right.
Right this way, king shit. Like, it just... this movie has a very strange message. Like, just when all is said and done. We'll talk about it at the end, but... Ooh, oof magoof. Oof magoof.
Oof, mum, floof.
So this is how they brought the movie in under 90 minutes, though, is they cut out the 20-minute section where people have to adjust to the fact that mythical creatures exist. Unless maybe that is a thing already. Maybe there's a ghost playing for that military school.
I like
Wolf
the
is a
military
unicorn.
Now every team is trying to recruit some kind of monster to go head-to-head with the werewolf. That'd be fun.
And awesome.
This is a vampire.
Yes.
Why not?
Yeah, the whole town goes wolf crazy in about 3 minutes. They essentially condense the second act of this story into a really brief montage. And I don't even know if I'm upset about it, because I don't think I want the 2-hour-plus version of Teen Wolf.
I think you're right.
That's true. I like the light, compact version of this.
It's, in a way, it's like they understand the beats a story like this is supposed to hit, but they're just like not super interested in that. We'd rather just get to these bits or lines that we thought of and like, okay, fine, I guess.
Yeah. And it might even be a thing where it's like, we don't have time to get to all of this. That's because that act is the hard act to write. It's like, fuck it. We got the beginning, we got the end, we got our faux Randy Newman song in the middle.
No one
Let's go.
noticed, yeah.
Do we have a song that mentions grandma several times? We do. Let's go.
So the wolf also hits a part in Pamela's play. This is where he's seduced by her. And this, I'm not proud of this, but this scene did compel me to do a Google search for wolf penis.
To see what one looks like.
Well, I wanted to know, like, what is she signing up for here? Is this that lipstick thing, how am I going to write my erotic fan fiction? I don't know how to describe this kibbles and bits, Carlos. But
Didn't
wait.
he mind him at the end of that question?
No, I'm talking to you, Carlos, honestly. As the most voracious reader of my erotic fan fiction, I think you'll appreciate the research. But wait, so a couple of noteworthy things here. The first is that this has its own Wikipedia page. It's not a section of the wolf or canine page. Canine penis and bulbous glandis both have their own entries. It's that important. So who feels silly now?
Oh my god.
The second thing is that there's an Urban Dictionary page for wolf penis. And I learned that it means a very hairy penis. And then they very helpfully used it in a sentence. The sentence is, his wolf penis made me want to howl at the moon.
Oh.
So that person's into it. Manscaping be damned. A quick tangent. I fell down a little bit of an Urban Dictionary rabbit hole for a few minutes. Are you guys familiar with the honeymoon handshake? It's when you're too tired after all of the wedding activities, so you and your lover get each other off with your hands. What a depressing image. Lying on your backs, exhausted, reaching over, sort of half-heartedly going through the motions. Well, wait, I'm bringing this up because someone else saw that definition, disagreed, and added their own. This is the second person's definition of a honeymoon handshake. Usually an event done either before, during, or after flipping a mattress, when a sexy older cougar wears her wedding dress while her young boy toy does push-ups. The boy toy usually regrets easy, non-committal sex and returns later when his grandfather is sleeping for a nice, warm cream pie.
What?
That is so specific.
He really spun a yarn.
So Mad Libs.
Do you want to hear the sentence they used to put it in context?
His wolf penis.
He never heard of the honeymoon handshake before Grandpa Jay interrupted it. They burned out. All their creativity was wasted on the definition. They really phoned in that sentence.
Sentence should have been, he never heard of the honeymoon handshake, so I wrote the definition on urbandictionary.com and defined it as, and then the definition.
Lord.
So many things. Oh god.
And it happens so frequently, we need to come up with a term for it. You know, you're doing push-ups for that sexy cougar who's in her wedding dress after she flipped the mattress, or during.
It's the whole procedure.
Right. And then you feel bad about it because it didn't mean anything, so then you go back to some pie with Grandpa.
If you saw that in a porn, you'd be like, it's trying to tell me something. What message were they trying to
Did they
convey?
think I watched this for the messages?
It's a real coming-of-age story, but I didn't need that.
Okay, so there's the scene in the bowling alley which ends with Mick taunting Scott by saying this thing about blowing his mom's head off with a shotgun.
As a child, I thought that was real.
You would be astonished how many people took that literally, how much energy has been wasted exploring this one line. For instance, here's this piece of IMDb trivia. In the film, it is revealed that Mick had done time in prison, but the crime he committed that landed him in prison was not revealed. In the bowling alley scene, Mick says to Scott, I've handled your kind before. Your mama used to steal chickens out of the backyard until I blew her head off with a shotgun. It's likely Mick said that to provoke and insult Scott. If Mick had indeed committed murder, according to American law, Mick would have been given the death penalty or life without the possibility of parole or a lesser sentence. Really covered all the bases there in that last sentence. Or he might have escaped. Or he might have framed someone for the crime. Or gotten off on a technicality. What are you doing? The trivia section also contains this informative bit about the law. In the high school dance sequence, Mick assaults Scott and doesn't get arrested. Mick would have been arrested for assault and could have done 3 years to 16 years, according to American law. Nick had previously done time in prison for an undisclosed offense. One really bored lawyer who's really bad at watching movies. This is the same person, number one. Number two, what the fuck are you doing? If this is the way you're watching this movie, your head would explode. How many laws are being broken during the urban surfing scenes? Or when Pamela engages in bestiality? Or all the underage drinking?
The sexual assault in the closet.
That's
I mean, the guy at the liquor store did sell alcohol to underage kids.
under American law. That's
American
illegal.
law, yeah.
It's
Same
never
phrase in both.
American law. God damn it.
It's definitely the same person.
Yes.
And I guess we should thank our lucky stars. There's not 127 entries of the crimes being committed in Teen Wolf.
Under American law, a turn signal is required when making a left turn.
Under American law, you're not allowed to have a basketball in the backcourt for more than 10 seconds. It's penalized by forfeiture of the possession of the ball. America.
Oh my god. So the rest of Scott's team is sick of being overshadowed and him hogging the ball. Again, I've already spoken about how random the basketball thing seemed to me as a kid. So, speaking of mundane, everyday things you do with werewolf powers, I'm going to turn it over to Carlos for some real-life retweets.
Okay, so we asked the following question via our Twitter. Aside from the obvious high school basketball, what everyday task or activity would you do as a werewolf? And how would being a werewolf help you do it? It's real useful ones here. Tabitha says, I feel like it would really give me an advantage being cast as the before person in infomercials for hair removal products.
Good call.
I also responded that it were the after and hair growth products.
Yes.
I mean, oh, that works.
You'd work all the time.
Person is a Sasquatch.
Peanut butter solution. No one?
Is this another Goldilocks thing?
No, it's a movie. Like peanut butter and some type of formula, and this kid's hair won't stop growing.
Huh.
Shaggy dog. Is it because he's...
My eyes are
Oh my
closed.
gosh. It helps you make a point. Oh my god.
Hey, speaking of the Shaggy dog, you know what? When they did... Okay, so remember Finding Forrester, the line from that?
Where are we going? Where in the hell are we going?
According to American law... no. The Sean Connery line, everybody...
You're the man now, dog.
You're the man now, dog. Such a missed opportunity when Tim Allen remade the Shaggy Dog for the tagline not to be, you're the dog now, man.
Oh, damn it. That's perfect. Response number 2. Mike says, this might be the one that came to mind. It's the most useful. Open those hard shell plastic packaging containers that electronics used to come in.
Yeah.
How many fingers have I cut trying to rip into those things? Good God.
Seriously?
It's insane. Who designed that?
I'm trying to keep out of these fuckers.
These earbuds or WMD?
Marie says, never again would I be thwarted by the child-proofing on a bottle of ibuprofen or the absurdly impregnable seal on a jar of jam or a bottle of soda.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Super strength and basketball. Grimlock Girl says, Top Gun with the werewolves? Being a part of a werewolf motorcycle gang might look pretty rad too. Skydiving werewolf. This is just like activities, but as a werewolf. It's activities that are already rad, but as a werewolf, just enhanced. Yeah. Name is just emojis. Sailor Saturn's ... It goes on. If I click off of it, I'm going to be on a Twitter wormhole, rabbit hole. Wormhole. I was in an alternate Twitter.
You're going to be on it, not in it.
All over
Riding
it.
that wormhole. It's okay. I'm above it. I just have to be very careful
I'm on
where
it.
I step.
Through it, over it. This person says, I wouldn't. I can barely get ready for work with short hair. If I gotta get ready with all that extra body hair, I'm staying my ass at home.
I don't know why. I don't know why. The outright rejection of the
I
question
wouldn't.
is so funny to me.
Fucking
hey, fuck you. No. That's so good. How dare you? Jesus Christ, Carlos.
It says I wouldn't in all caps. Chris says, I don't know, doing it Bobo Nasty style?
I did not say that.
No, another person named Chris.
They're gonna think
All of the
Christopher.
Chris's are doing it Bobo Nasty style.
It's amazing there can be more than one Chris on Twitter.
Does he have
Everyone
the
knows
last
there's
initial?
only one Scott at a party and only one Chris on Twitter.
It's a one Scott party. What can I say? It's a two Scott town, but it's a one Scott party. And then Chris goes on to say, not you, Chris, other Chris.
Thank you.
There are many Chris's. Seriously though, it's not really an everyday activity, but it'd be awesome for going to cons, and not the obvious going as a werewolf. Strap a bandolier on and you'd have the most authentic Chewbacca costume ever.
Yeah.
That is fair. My son saw the still image of Teen Wolf and was like, Chewbacca playing basketball. It's like, yeah, that's basically right. Not a wolf. Not a wolf at all. Big Mitty says, I can't think of anything besides sports where being a werewolf would be a big advantage. Track, football, baseball, etc. Then, a day later, just thought of something. From my house, I could use it to smell what my neighbors down the street are cooking and then invite myself over. It would also be good for sniffing out those summer barbecues. And I'm just going to say this. If you can't sniff out the summer barbecues, they're not barbecuing very well. Because I can smell those and I am not a werewolf.
It's true.
It's
Yeah.
true. I'm only 1/8 werewolf, so it doesn't really show.
Yeah.
I get fleas.
That's good.
Yeah. And that is all of the responses.
Oh, that was good. My
That was
stomach
good
hurts.
stuff. That was good stuff.
I wouldn't.
I love this. I'm gonna be
Oh.
laughing about that for.
Okay. All right. I mean,
Don't ever play this game again.
I mean, like next time, just don't answer. But
No,
But if
I
you
love
really
it.
want
No,
to-
please do. Please do. I loved it.
I reject your premise, sir.
So there's Howard's talk about scaring that guy. Him and Scott's mom and teenagers. You get a hold of it. Something I've been meaning to bring up. Howard consistently says wolf, not wolf. Yeah, this is something I remember as a kid always bothered me. I remember being at Great America when Wolf was a brand new roller coaster, and two kids running around, like two brothers, and one was trying to get the other. Come on, we're going. Iron Wolf, Iron Wolf. He's like, that's a lot less intimidating than you say.
And that L carries a lot of weight. A werewolf. Wolf. Oh shit. Neither of you are real.
Michael J. Fox is a little bit of a werewolf. Yeah, I guess.
Give him a scratch on it.
My third grade teacher used to say wolf. It drove me nuts. Nuts.
I had a social studies teacher who pronounced days of the week. Monday, Tuesday.
I love that.
Okay, fuck. Are you kidding me?
I think it's so cute.
Pronunciation, and you get it a lot with like football sportscasters when they want to say him, they say him. It drives me fucking nuts. Yeah. Look at him. It's him. There's an H and an I. There's not 4 E's. It's, I don't know what state that is from, but him drives me fucking bananas.
Something that bothers me is 15. You hear that? Like, well, I schedule appointments for a living.
15.
So it's like, we can see you at 3:15, 15, and they're like, oh, 3:15,
Oh, ugh. That's just lazy.
3:15. It's like, I can't even properly say what they would say, but it's very distinguishable. 15. 15.
That's the
3:15.
don't like.
I like that.
I was gonna say, that sounds right to me.
That's how we say
15.
words, Donna.
Is it because...
I love it when they go 3:15. I love
See you
it.
then. I think we're on the same page.
Say it quarter after.
You just vomit onto the sketchbook. Okay. I'll just drive by when I'm free. All right, so what does he do? He asks Boof to go to the dance. She says only if she can go with him, not the wolf, which is great, and then completely undercut by her saying, of course, I'll still dance with you, even if you refuse. So,
Self-esteem lessons.
there are no consequences for him at all with any of this. Like, he should lose Boof. He should lose his friends. He should lose the team, because this is like what I was saying earlier. In a movie that's it wants to show us, it seems to want to be saying how empty the fanfare of being a celebrity is, but there's so little about Scott's life that really changes.
Yeah, this is Can't Buy Me Love, except that he doesn't lose his friends.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
be damned. Yeah. So when he's getting ready for the dance, he finishes up and he says, "You are an animal," and then he howls, and then he disappears. Your mom was the invisible woman.
She's been here the whole time.
That's not a werewolf thing. I'll teleport to the dance because I'm the boy from the future. Marty. What happened? What happens here? What happens? What happens?
I'll tell you what happens is the line "You are an animal" is undercut by its previous use in the sex scene with Pam. She says, "You are an animal."
Doesn't he say she was right? You are an animal.
She just says, "You are an animal."
No, he says it.
I mean, I think he says. Does he say she was right?
I thought so.
I don't think so.
I just saw it one time.
Are we about to have a "I am your father"?
It's just like, yeah, I heard that line already.
But have you seen him disappear?
It's a weird bathroom.
It's
The real issue.
fucking wormhole vortex.
But when he disappears, you get such a good look at it.
The bathroom's got 2 doors, one of which has a window on it. How many bathrooms do you know with a window? Because it's got like a curtain over it.
Oh, Kristen and I, when we had to go to Florida just a couple months ago, the hotel room we stayed at, it was like a nice Marriott hotel. The bathroom door, it was just frosted glass. Like, oh good. Hey, honey, no secrets on this trip. What possible...
No.
Oh, boy. For all of Mick's bluster about not being afraid of the wolf, he definitely waits until Scott's human again before he picks a fight. What are we thinking? 3 to 16 years? At least? For this sort of
I guess if it's set in
infraction?
America, it's by America.
This is America.
Someone has to want to press charges for assault. So if the werewolf doesn't want to press charges,
I think this person's giving us pretty sound legal advice. This is definitely a lawyer, and they seem pretty convinced. Assault. He would have been convicted of assault. When Scott fights back, though, I know he can't sever limbs or anything, but it should have been more vicious. I alluded to this already, that what he does to Boof is worse than what he does to Mick. Like, for a moment that's supposed to terrify Mick and have Pamela turn against him and have some of the other kids give him, start to... It's just, he barely does anything.
like rips his shirt.
Kind of. He untucks it.
He
Messes his hair.
untucks it. That would be the best.
You get it in slow motion too.
Ah, you look sloppy now.
The reveal that the principal was the guy from Howard's Story that had been chasing after Scott's mom, that's great.
Was it revealed there? Was it revealed
Tells the story.
Oh no, what I did's better. Because I missed it when he tells the story, and at this moment I was like, oh shit!
because Scott's like, I would have killed to be there to see that because he hates the principal.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's like,
guys.
this has been really hard on you, and it's my fault.
Imagine a world where you missed that line, and then this is the payoff. It actually was. Oh well, fuck.
I do like that the dad, though.
Sorry.
The dad in that talk, though, is like, you've messed things up with the basketball team. That's your own doing. But the vice principal is my fault.
Oops. Well, what I just described, I'm telling you, is like 100 times better.
We all have our sandwich times.
I love that I'm sitting there with my jaw dropped, like, what? And there's no surprise. The movie's as inept as ever, and I'm just like, wow, they got me. I did not see that coming.
Hey, Chris, every time the principal talks to him, he says, when I was younger,
I can't
a rival
believe
of your father.
how well they seeded that. I'll be damned. Oh, that Jeff Loeb is going places.
I think that's another reason why I mixed him and the principal from Back to the Future up, is because both of them had issues with the father.
Right.
Like, they've known generations of this family and have never liked them.
Wow, okay. This is not my finest hour. this whole episode. You know how they were down by 1 point?
Nope.
And then there was
They were
this
down by
amazing
a million
twist in the
points.
third act.
If I had been sharper this issue, this episode, I would have said we switched places. Like, welcome, walk a mile in my shoes.
What the hell's going on?
Donna
Now we're
measures
just
podcast
both
by
doing
issue.
that. Yeah.
I measure them by cake.
Cake.
Cake a podcast, please. So disappointed in myself.
We
Look.
shouldn't have told him.
No, I'm glad. Because the internet would have let it go.
Look, I don't want to be a know it, Carlos, but you definitely missed lines from the movie.
Okay, so Scott doesn't want to be the wolf anymore, but him deciding he just wants to be Scott, not the werewolf, that means the director no longer wants him in that play, and it means the whole school is disappointed when he walks into the gym for the championship game.
The director is doing his best, Jeff Goldblum. And that's no wolf, yes? No play. Okay. Tim Burton got some chops.
He can just show up late to that game.
Pretty shitty. He's got his bag. He hasn't even, like, put his sneakers on yet.
No.
God damn it. No wonder no one likes you, Scott.
Scout. Let's get Scout on the team. This
Scout.
guy's not very dependable. I remembered them changing the name of the team to the Wolves.
I remembered that too. And then what I think I was just remembering was the mascot for the Beavers being a wolf.
Yeah, they changed the head. I
changed
feel
the
like he
mascot.
still has a beaver tail,
Still
but he is so wolfish.
But I swear to God, there's something on the wall in the background of this gymnasium that says the Beacon Town, whatever this place is called, Wolves.
I didn't see it.
I think
But I remembered
Well,
that.
we obviously can't fucking trust anything I thought I saw or bird or fucking God. What a twist. All right. So,
Now you go to IMDb and you write, when Scott's dad tells Scott that the vice principal knew him as a child, foreshadows Scott's dad.
It's the mother of all twists. I'm the foreshadower.
I knew it all along.
So Scott rallies the team to play together and win this thing without the wolf.
Because there are angels in the outfield.
I like this win in the end song.
Mm.
And the song's not wrong. They do.
It's really,
Yeah.
really hard to win in the beginning.
And when they're down to like the last moments of like, will they, won't they? I'm like, well, the song just said they're gonna win in the end, so like, fucking obviously.
Retract. I retract my previous statement. This movie's loaded with turns. Wow, I didn't see that coming either.
I like that Scott uses, what's the bully's name? Mick's anger against him. Like, basically, like, gets in his head and is like, you're just going to keep assaulting me on the court. They're not going to call every foul, but they're going to call enough that you're going to be thrown out of this game.
Yeah, that's a nice moment.
It
That's
is
good.
good.
So he pushes past Pamela to get to Boof.
Of course.
Yeah.
And there's the extra behind them.
Okay, so they win the big game, and yeah, here's the infamous scene where an extra. For a long time, everyone thought it was a guy that whipped his penis out in the last moments of this movie. Nobody caught it. Not true. From what I read, it's not some guy who was trying to flash his peen. It's a female extra whose pants were too tight, so she unzipped them, not realizing her crotch was going to be right over Howard's shoulder in this big moment. That's it. That's all it is. Just some woman who should have passed